Welcome back, everyone. My next guest is Steve Levitt, and he is the owner of Master Appraisal Services. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do. I mean, we kind of know what you do, but you really you do something better than most people, so go ahead.
Well, I'm a real estate appraiser. I have been for going on 30 years, and basically what I do is go out and tell you what your home is worth.
Right. And I heard that you're one of the only appraisers in the Valley that has a 5-star Google rating. Is that correct?
That's what I've been told.
That's pretty neat. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about you and what makes you different than some of the other people out there.
Well, like I said, we've been in business here, appraising for going on 30 years, 28 years, I believe, right now. And experience matters. It's something that you learn over the years. You continue to grow in what you do. You tend to find new techniques and new methods of valuing different components of a home that contribute to the overall.
Okay, so let's ask you this. What kind of education and training and things like that have you had?
Well, to be an appraiser, you have to have 30 hours, college hours.
It's not easy, guys. Listen up. Go ahead.
Or you can have an AA, and on top of that, you have to have 150 hours of appraisal education. Then you have to put in 2,000 hours as an apprentice under a certified appraiser. And then you have to pass the state exam. So it takes quite a bit.
It really does. Now, why is it important for people to even get their house appraised?
Well, there can be a lot of reasons for it. Of course, if you're going to get a loan, you're going to get it appraised. In that instance, the bank will take care of that for you. They'll order the appraisal and review it and go through it. If it's a private deal, it can be because, unfortunately, people get divorced. You have to divide those assets, and it's tough to divide them if you don't know what the home is worth. Some people may just give the home to one person or the other, but probably 90+% of the time, they're going to divide those assets, and they need to know how much is that home worth, and it has to be accurate because you may end up in court having to fight over it.
Absolutely. Now, you work with the greater Phoenix and the East Valley areas. Your website is masterappraisalservices.com. You're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're one of the only appraisers in the Valley that have a 5-star Google rating, and you can call them direct. Their phone number is 480-889-3684. I got to ask you off the cuff, right? Because I was on your website with you and before we came on the air, and you have a whole thing there. You get a ton of questions that people ask you. Some of the most incredible questions. Why? People have a lot of questions. Why is that?
Well, first thing, a lot of people, especially if you're new homeowners, you've never had an appraisal. You have no idea what to expect. You got some stranger showing up at your house. He's running around measuring things, taking pictures, and they don't know what they're looking for, and they don't know how that valuation happens. How do we determine what a home is worth? I mean, it's not throwing darts at a board. I mean, we have to be able to determine how much is that pool worth, and how does the appraiser figure that out? We've been asked that. We've given demonstrations, the methodology that we use in doing that. Same thing, people look at a home and they say, my neighbor's home just sold for $200,000, so my home's $200,000. Well, the difference is, has the neighbor's home been updated and yours not? Has the neighbor's home have a pool? You don't. Do you have a 2-car garage? They have a 3-car garage. So there's a lot more that goes into it than people think.
Here's the thing. We all think that we live in the Taj Mahal. I mean, really do. I had to do that to you because I want to make you laugh, and because it's true, right?
It is.
And you don't know. And you think that that upgrade that you did is going to just bring your house up to the kazoo, and it's not necessarily the case, right?
Correct.
So there's a lot that goes into it, and, you know, do people try and do these things on their own?
They do. They'll get on a website or whatever that says, we'll tell you the value of your home immediately. And they can give you a ballpark figure, but they can't give you an accurate estimate of what the home is.
So when they go on Zillow, for example, okay, what happens when they do that and they think they're getting, well, what's the difference?
Okay. Zillow and those other companies are basically they provide you what's known as an AVM, an automated valuation model, and it's a computer model. So what it does is takes the other homes that have sold in the area, and it figures out how much per square foot, and they do some algorithms and so forth, basically to get an average of what your home would be worth. The problem with that is they can't tell you if you have been completely updated. They don't know the other homes that have
They're
sold.
not inside your home. Go ahead.
And what if you have converted your garage into living area? Zillow doesn't know that. Does that help your value? Perhaps. It could hurt your value. Either way, they don't have any method of finding that out. There's no way that they can be as accurate as a certified appraiser that goes in and takes the time and has the knowledge and experience to come up with the actual opinion of what your value is.
And again, they are one of the only appraisers in the Valley that is a 5-star rating with Google. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they're also work in the Greater Phoenix and East Valley areas. You could check them out. I love your website because it has, you'll be able to ask questions right there, and you get answers off of it, which is really neat. And masterappraisalservices.com, and that phone number to call direct, it's 480-889-3684. When they call you, how does it work? What's the process? I'm going off of this completely, okay? So what's the process of when they do that? How fast is the turnaround?
And that all depends, of course, on the type of home. I mean, we do multi-million-dollar homes that, of course, take a lot more time. We do a tract home where there's a lot of sales around it that doesn't take as much time. But what's going to happen if you call our office, the first thing we'll do is find out what the purpose of the appraisal is. A lot of times I get calls at the office for someone that says, hey, I'm refinancing my house, I need to order an appraisal, and because of the way the laws were changed in 2009, they can't do that. And so, of course, we steer them in the right direction. If it is a service that we can provide to you, then we walk through the steps. We're going to have a contract that tells you exactly what we're going to do, what we're not going to do, who we can talk to, who we can't. And then we're going to schedule it for you. We're going to get out as quick as we can, do an inspection. We're going to measure the house, take notes of what materials, photos and everything that we have to have for our office files. It's not necessarily have to go in the appraisal if you don't want, but we need to have it just for verification of what we're doing.
Now, you mentioned something. You said the word inspection, and I want to know that there's a difference between an appraisal and an inspection. What's the difference?
If you're talking about a home inspection, what they're doing is coming out to look at the components. How worn out are they? Are they working properly? Is the electricity, is it wired properly, so forth? Is the furnace, is it working properly? Our job, we inspect to find out what's there because we provide an opinion of value to you of what the home would most likely sell for. Not the highest price it can sell for, not the lowest price, but what is most likely based on data that we have in the market.
And you can't always just get that trying to do it off of the Zillow or trying to do it by, even your real estate agent doesn't necessarily know, right?
The real estate agent's job is a little bit different than ours. For one, their job as the listing agent is to get the highest possible price for you. The appraiser doesn't do that. We're doing the most probable. On top of that, a listing agent can take your opinion where you say, hey, you know, I think my home's worth $300,000. They can say, okay, well, we'll list it for that. And then if it doesn't sell for whatever reason, we'll go ahead and we'll lower the price by 5%, 10%, whatever. Ours has to be accurate. We have to be able to support what we tell you.
Let me ask you something. If they're selling at home, can they just call you and call anyone to get appraisal, or how does that work? Do they have to call? Can they call you? The question is if I'm selling my home, can I call you to do my appraisal?
Depends on what the use of your appraisal is. If you just want to know that you're selling it for the right price, of course we can help you. If you're trying to use that appraisal for any type of mortgage transaction, it has to be ordered by, these days it's what's called a appraisal management company. And what that is basically a firewall between the loan officer, the bank, and the appraiser. And it just makes sure there's no collusion, no falsification of any data or whatever. So anything for a mortgage transaction has to be ordered through them.
All right, so a lot of people are thinking about selling their homes. What is the biggest thing that they can do as a home improvement that you could suggest to them right off the bat?
Well, of course, bathrooms and kitchens are big sellers. What you do have to realize about just about anything you do, there's something already there in place. In other words, you have a kitchen that has granite countertops and it's a little bit dated. That has value. So if you're putting in new, is it going to bring back the value of what you actually put into it? But you have to figure that someone that's going to buy that house may just look at it and say, hey, those are just fine for me. Why am I going to pay $20,000 more to replace it? But if you are trying to raise your value, those are some of the best items you can do.
And what was the weirdest thing that you found in someone's house? I got to ask that question. What was the weirdest thing that you found in someone's house? Listen to this.
It's been several years. I was appraising a house for this little old lady, just a sweet lady. And I turn and walk around the corner into one of the bedrooms, and she has a full-size kimono dragon standing there up on his back legs hissing at me.
I got to ask you, did that bring it up or did it bring it down? I got to know right now.
Oh, I'm surprised I was even able to finish that one.
You know what? It's very important that you do get your house appraised, and then you get it done by somebody who does have a 5-star rating with Google, and they're one of the only ones. You can call them at 480-889-3684. It's masterappraisalservices.com.